Hi, it's Tara Wood here again, and I am responding to a viewer's question about meltdowns and how I have handled them over the years. Just a quick recap, myself and all five of my kids have neurodivergent, it's the catchword nowadays, issues. So anxiety, sensory processing issues, ADHD, autism. Actually, I don't think we have any OCD, which is kind of nice. So panic attacks, anxiety attacks, meltdowns, we definitely understand. I've been a licensed massage therapist for 30 years, where I worked a lot with people with their nervous systems and emotions and calming them down through massage, but currently back in school taking psychology classes. So I thought about this really deeply this week, because there's just so many schools of thought and theories. Some of these theories, I wonder, the people that made it up, I'm like, are you autistic? Do you have sensory issues? I'm like, I really wish people that actually had the issues would be the therapists, because then they would really understand what was going on inside that person when it was happening. So let's talk about the young ones, young kids. Well, with a child, their brain is developing. We think about the frontal brain as your critical thinking, your reasoning, your logic, your rationalization. And so really, this really doesn't finish, as we see in teenagers, doesn't really finish until the early 20s. So kids are normally figuring it out. They're learning how to control their emotions and get along with people and overcome upsets. It's a process, but if you have kids with special needs, that is especially difficult. They're unable to emotionally regulate, focus. They might be really, really sensitive, overwhelmed, or a sensory seeker. I've talked about that in some of my other videos. So with the young ones, I think the biggest issue that I remember having, and I was a single parent through the hardest years for 7 years with the first three, is going out in public places and they lose it. Lots of fun. They lose it in public places and you're embarrassed. You're mortified, people making comments, or they're just, maybe they sympathetic or they pity you. And you just feel like you're being judged. And it's just the worst thing ever is when they're losing in public. And nowadays you also think about someone going to call, like, well, I'm from Canada, so social services or Ministry of Child Family, are they going to call somebody on me? And it actually happened to me once when I was a single parent. I think I had some weird infection in my eye. At the time, I was really tired and struggling. I was on this weird medication. And then one of my youngest son at the time suffered with some really bad wheat allergies and had like eczema on his arms and legs that we were dealing with. And I guess this person took one look at me and said, holy cow, and called Canada's version of social services on us. And lucky for me, she came in and I said, look, this is what we're dealing with. I need help. And here's what I've been doing and trying to do. And she's like, okay, well, I was going to take your kids, but now I realize I'm not going to take your kids. You're actually pretty awesome. And one day you should write a book, and here, let me help you. So I had a good experience. But yeah, there's that fear, as parents, we really, really need help. So when you have a youngster that is losing it, they're gone in their head. They're out in the universe. Those thoughts, those feelings, those fears, it's real for them. You can't logic it out and tell them to buck up or stop being silly. Don't ever talk to them like that. Yeah, the reality is whatever's upsetting them it's real for them. So you want to validate and take that into consideration. And so their head is just in the clouds. We want to ground them. We want to bring them back to the here and the now, looking at me. So get to their level, look at them, take it seriously, mirror that, yeah, I'm taking you seriously. And one of the things that I found help that someone once taught me was they're here in the primal brain. We want to bring them back to here, the frontal brain, which is reasoning and thinking. And so you want to talk facts. So as a parent, you say what you see. So I go, wow, John, your face is really red. You're really, really upset. You're stomping your feet. Wow, you're sweating. You're really, really mad, but be really factual of what you see. And I found when I did that with my children, they're like, yeah, I'm really mad. I'm really upset. And yeah, I'm sweating. And yeah, you're right. My face is red. Let me go look at the mirror, look at my face. And when I did that, we started to bring them back from here to here where they couldn't argue the facts and was like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. And then what it was doing is grounding them, is coming back to the here and now between you and them. And they're essentially in a state of fight or flight. So you cannot reason and logic someone in a state of fight or flight. You need to calm them down first. And so once the child is calmer, and I try to remove them. If I'm in the store, that means I may have to leave my shopping cart full of stuff, and we're leaving the store to go outside to the car or deal with this. And it's frustrating. It's hard as a parent. But that little guy, that little girl needs you to be the emotional regulator that is not working in their brain. They're needing help, even if they're mad and they're sassing you out or whatever. You as a parent have to stay calm and talk calm, talk slow, and take it serious, mirror, and say what you see. And until you can get them calmer. Also, when they're calmer, then they might be a little more willing to do something like a breathing exercise. Or if you saw my other video, let's get you lie down on the bed. Dad's going to give you a massage. And I have a type of massage for the sensory seekers that are overwhelmed, or the sensory avoiders that are overwhelmed. Just trying to think. I'm not following any script. Normally I follow a script, and keeps me on the straight and narrow here. Trying to think of what else. So one of my favorite breathing techniques by Dr. Andrew Huberman, well-known neuroscientist from Stanford. Guy's amazing. He talks about the phrenic nerve breathing. And I know it's really popular to talk about the vagus nerve, and what's kind of fascinating is research kind of finds that people with these central nervous system disorders, ADHD, autism, our vagus nerves are actually really low tone. That's the cranial nerve that kind of attaches to all of your organs. It's your rest and digest. But one thing he says is, that's great, but there's another nerve that if you can activate it, will calm you, bring you back from a million to zero really, really fast, faster than the vagus nerve. And the phrenic nerve is a nerve that goes to your diaphragm. So whenever you're you're really, really upset, and you've been crying, oh, I'm so upset, and all of a sudden you start calming it down, you're doing that weird sort of breathing, like you're yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know what they call it, but that kind of crying breathing or whatever. Anyway, what's happening is that type of breathing is activating this phrenic nerve, and it actually restores you back to homeostasis or balance a lot faster. And so what Dr. Andrew Huberman describes the breathing is you do two sharp breaths in with a long breath out through the mouth. So 2 in through the nose, long through the mouth, like this. You go. So the 2 short breaths, very powerful, very strong. Just get right in there, and then slow breath. I'm actually feeling really good as I did that. So that's the phrenic nerve breathing. Now with older kids with overwhelm and stuff, and I'm definitely concerned about our schools. We're in Idaho, and post-COVID really hit our kids hard. We have therapists moving their offices into the schools here because the rate of depression, anxiety, overwhelm, things like that are pretty high now post-COVID. I don't know about other states, but it's really kind of sad to see the behavioral issues and the challenges our kids have. So with an older child, same thing is you want to mirror, there's the seriousness, they're feeling overwhelmed. And I like to just get them to talk it out. So one of my favorite things to do with my girls is we'll go for a drive, and I'll say, look, we're going for a drive, and you can say whatever you want. Just talk about whatever's on your mind, and we'll go for long drives. And with one child, it was really funny. We went out in the middle of nowhere, and she rolled down our window and just leaned her head out and just was yelling out in the middle of nowhere, going, I'm so fed up, and I'm mad at this and I'm mad at that. And afterwards, it was actually really, really funny that towards the end of it, she's laughing and I'm laughing, and it was really, really fun. But definitely just those drives where they know that I'm not going to judge them. I really, really care about them. And I want to validate that their concerns are real. And then I find, is because they're older, is as they get it out, sometimes they actually figure out their solutions themselves. Just talk and get it out. I find those, a few of those things work. Another one that's helpful in our family is where are you on the Richter scale? So it's out of 10. And if you are close to a 10, it's like, okay, we need to remove you or get out of the room or something. Because you sometimes you can never tell, especially with older kids, their faces, or even me. Sometimes my husband say, where are you today on the Richter scale? And I go, I'm good. I'm about a 5, still a little tense, and kids are busy and I'm busy, but I'm good. There's other days where he's not sure. And he go, where are you at? And I go, I'm at an 8. And he goes, kids, out of the room now. So it's just really, really good if you can have a way of communicating. We use symbols of like, this is how I'm feeling. Kids at times drew pictures to say, I'm where I'm at this today. One of my daughters has got a really great thing that she thought of, is on her phone. She wrote little notes that when she's feeling really sensory overwhelmed, it just shuts her down. She can't speak, and she's just so overwhelmed that even if she utters anything, she's going to start bawling, and she doesn't want to cry in front of classmates and teachers. So she can go up to a teacher, show her phone, and it just simply says, I'm feeling really overwhelmed right now, that if I open my mouth, I'm going to start crying, or please, can I go to a different room? So she's got a way to communicate. That's really, really excellent. There are lots of different therapies out there, and things that have helped. I really like the work of Dr. Svetlana Maskatova. She's a Russian doctor who's had some really good results with kids who've had trauma. And she talks about there's these reflexes, these baby reflexes, that's supposed to be integrated, and trauma kicks them out. It's like a hair out of place. So there's exercises that she does that helps the brain, and that's been really, really helpful. I think the biggest thing for me, and this is why I am doing Restore the Brain and why I am promoting daily essential nutrients, is for a lot of us, they've discovered that we have, they call it inborn genetic metabolism, inborn errors of metabolism, that genetically in our family, the doctors that did genetic research on me and my kids discovered that mother to son were passing on certain traits, and mother to daughter, they're getting some other traits. So there's a huge genetic link in our family. And I hate it when it happens. My brain goes blank. And so one of the things that Dr. Bruce Ames talks about is, in those situations, we actually need higher levels of nutrients. The enzymes need a little extra help in order to work these pathways of thinking, and because it's so complex, everything we do. So we need a little extra help. And we do know that our diets are pretty bad. They're really nutrient deficient, and the chemicals and the forever chemicals. And then Dr. Bruce Ames also talks about how stress, the triage theory, depletes your brain of nutrients. Your brain is so hungry. It wants up to 40% of everything you eat every day, it wants it for itself. Very selfish. Well, it needs it. And so if you're already not eating a high nutritional diet, which is, I think, hard to do these days, you're just not getting what you need. And then when you're stressed, the body's going to divert those nutrients that's supposed to go to the brain to your fight or flight system, to other things like getting ready to run and your heart rate and breathing. And so with life being really, really stressful and overwhelming, you've got these kids and adults that are constantly in a state of fight or flight and cortisol. So, it's bad enough our diets but our lifestyle just depleting us. So I think supplementation has to be a necessary part of the therapy model that you're doing. I will not ever stop me and my kids using the daily essential nutrients. Everyone sort of needs different amounts, but there's no way I can have a perfect diet. We have kids with food issues and they're doing much better now. And the anxiety and stuff is, coping is so much better. My daughter, her grades last year, she really struggled. This year, she hit her first A's and B's. She's really, really excited. So I think that's a really core cornerstone is the nutrition, and then the other therapies on top, and then mom and dad creating an environment in their home or wherever they are that the child knows that they can count on you to help them sort out and learn how to regulate when life gets overwhelming and what the correct response is. And with a lot of these kids, they have short-term memory issues. So you're going to say it 100 times and then 100 times more, and you're going to be okay with that. And you got to be patient. And I think the other thing that's helpful too, as parents that don't have these issues, but dealing with kids that do, I think support for you is really important as well. You need to talk to people that get you and understand you, because it's hard. There was a lot of nights that I cried. I mean, I already have those issues, and then I had kids with those issues. It was double. I think the first year when I became a single parent, I think I cried myself to sleep every night for a whole year, just like, God, please help me get through another day. And it gets easier. And what's a blessing is these kids do not stay like this forever. As they grow, their brain is still developing, and there is hope. There is improvement. There is cognitive development on their own, regardless of the input of nutrition and everything else. That's still going to happen. And so don't give up. And it does get better as they get older. But also as parents, take care of yourselves, because it's a workout. I don't think there's easy answers. I don't think there's quick fixes, but there are things that make it a lot easier to get through. And I get emotional when I think about it, because I understand. I really, really understand more than you know. Anyway, I don't know if this was helpful. I hope it is. And just know that I care about you. And my site is restorethebrain.com. And I'm here to help if you have any questions. Take care.